My dear friends, before we begin, I want to ask you for just one thing: stay with me, from this very first moment to the very last word. Because what I'm about to share is not just information. It is not just a collection of stories. It is a guide, built on years of study and decades of observing life in all its colors, its joys, its heartbreaks, its quiet triumphs, and its unexpected turns. And if you allow yourself to listen not only with your mind but with your heart, I believe something will shift inside you today. It might be a small shift, like the turning of a seed toward the sun, or it might be something larger, like the opening of a window you thought had been sealed shut. Either way, I promise you there is something here that you can use. Something you can carry into tomorrow. Something you might even pass on to the people you love most. And because I know how precious your time is, I want you to get the very best from our time together. So, before we begin, I'm going to ask you, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Click that button so you'll always be here with us for the next conversation. And don't just watch for a minute or two. Watch until the very end today, because these ideas are like threads in a tapestry. You won't see the full picture until every thread is in place. You see, life, in its truest form, is never a straight line. It's a river, winding and bending, sometimes gentle, sometimes wild. And as we grow older, as you and I have, we begin to understand something that younger people often can't see yet. The river doesn't flow the way you think it will. It changes. It surprises you. It teaches you lessons you never asked for. But if you are willing to learn from those lessons, if you are willing to see their value, they can give you something far greater than comfort. They can give you wisdom. And wisdom is the one thing that, once you have it, no one can take away from you. Today, I want to share with you 5 principles, 5 truths that I believe are essential for living the later chapters of life not only with dignity, but with joy, meaning, and peace. These are not abstract philosophies that belong in books on dusty shelves. They are living truths, proven by modern science, confirmed by ancient wisdom, and tested in the lives of real people just like you and me. And in this first part of our talk, we'll focus on the first 2 principles. The first principle is simple to say, but often very hard to live. Stop overcalculating, and live in harmony with the natural flow of life. In today's world, we are surrounded by numbers. We count our steps with fitness trackers. We measure our sleep with smartwatches. We check the weather down to the minute on our phones. And while these tools can be useful, they can also trap us in a mindset where we feel we must control everything. We plan every detail, worry about every possibility, and try to predict every outcome. But here's the truth: life does not work that way. And when we try to force it to, we end up more anxious, more restless, and more exhausted. Science has a name for this habit. Psychologists call it rumination. It's when the mind circles the same thoughts over and over, like a bird trapped in a room, searching for an exit. In 2019, a study published in Nature Human Behavior revealed something fascinating. People who engage in excessive mental calculation and prediction actually have a harder time making good decisions. Their brains get caught in what researchers call a stress feedback loop. The very act of overthinking increases stress hormones like cortisol, and high cortisol then clouds judgment, creating a cycle that can be hard to break. Nature doesn't work this way. The river doesn't stop to measure how many gallons of water it carries each day. The tree doesn't calculate how many leaves it will grow next spring. They respond to seasons, light, and weather, adapting as they go. That is why they survive and why they flourish. Let me tell you about Joseph, a retired farmer from Vermont. Joseph had worked his land for more than 50 years. He planted in the spring, harvested in the fall, and rested during the winter. One summer, I asked him how much he planned for the next season. He laughed and said, "I plan enough to know where I'm going, but I leave enough space for life to surprise me. The soil needs to breathe. So does the heart." Joseph understood something that many of us forget. There is a difference between preparation and obsession. Preparation gives you a foundation to stand on. Obsession ties you to a weight you can't carry. If you have found yourself lying awake at night, calculating what might happen tomorrow, I encourage you to try this. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Ask yourself, what is truly in my control right now? And what can I let go of? Neuroscientists at Stanford University have found that even 2 minutes of mindful breathing can reduce cortisol levels by up to 20%. That's not just a nice idea, it's a measurable biological change. By releasing what we can't control, we create space for peace to enter. The second principle builds on the first. It is this: avoid unnecessary self-suppression and never flatter others just to win their approval. Too many of us, especially in our younger years, learned to keep quiet to avoid conflict. We learned to nod, to smile, to agree even when our hearts told us otherwise. And sometimes, we even learned to give compliments we didn't mean, just to be liked. But when we live like this for years, something happens inside us. We begin to lose pieces of ourselves. Sociologists call this self-erasure. Over time, people who hide their true thoughts and feelings often suffer from higher rates of loneliness, depression, and even physical illness. Harvard Medical School published a study in 2017 linking long-term emotional suppression to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The reason is clear. When you silence your inner voice, your body carries the stress. I once knew a woman named Clara, a schoolteacher in Ohio. Clara was known for being agreeable. She never disagreed with anyone, never challenged an opinion, never spoke up if she thought something was wrong. People liked her, but they didn't really know her. When Clara turned 68, she was diagnosed with high blood pressure. Her doctor encouraged her to reduce stress, but Clara didn't know where to begin. It was only after working with a counselor that she realized her greatest source of stress wasn't her students or her workload, it was her lifelong habit of never speaking her mind. With practice, Clara began to change. She didn't start shouting or arguing. Instead, she learned what her counselor called gentle honesty. When she disagreed, she would say, "I see it differently," or "I understand your point, but here's how I feel." She was respectful, but she was also real. Within months, Clara noticed something remarkable. Her blood pressure improved, her friendships became deeper, and for the first time in years, she felt truly herself. Flattery may win you temporary approval, but authenticity builds respect that lasts. And at this stage of life, you have earned the right to be authentic. You have lived through enough to know that your voice matters not because it is loud, but because it is true. My friends, these first two principles, letting go of overcalculation and refusing to suppress your true self, are like two pillars. They support everything else we will talk about in the next chapters. Because once you free your mind from unnecessary worry and free your heart from unnecessary silence, you create space for something beautiful to grow, the ability to live your later years with clarity, joy, and purpose. In the next part of our talk, we'll explore the third and fourth principles, how to develop 3 essential visions for life, and why trusting yourself matters more than depending on others. And I will share with you a story that will stay in your heart for a long time, a story about patience, humility, and the quiet strength that comes from endurance. But before we get there, I want to ask you something. If what I've shared today has spoken to you even just a little, please subscribe to this channel right now. Share this video with someone who might need it. And in the comments, tell me, which of these 2 principles speaks to you more? Stopping overcalculation, or refusing to suppress your true self? Your words may be the exact thing another person needs to hear today. 2. My dear friends, as we continue, I want you to take a slow, deep breath. Let the words we've shared so far settle into you. Imagine them not as information you heard today and forget tomorrow, but as seeds you've planted. You don't see a tree the day you plant it. You water it, you let the sunlight reach it, and slowly, quietly, it begins to grow. That's how these principles work. They are not instant. They are gradual. But they last. The third principle is about vision. More specifically, about the 3 visions that can transform your life, especially in your later years. Without vision, we drift. We wake up, go through the motions, and the days blur together. But with vision, even the simplest day can feel alive with purpose. Now, when I say vision, I don't mean vague dreams or wishful thinking. I mean something clear enough that, if you closed your eyes right now, you could see it in detail. Modern psychology tells us that the brain responds to vivid mental imagery almost as strongly as it does to reality. This is called neuroplastic simulation, and research from the University of Chicago has shown that people who visualize a goal with detail down to the colors, sounds, and emotions activate the same neural pathways as those who actually experience it. The first vision is your vision for your body. As we age, our bodies change. Muscles lose strength, joints lose flexibility, and sometimes our energy feels lower than it used to. But aging does not have to mean decline, it means adaptation. If your vision is to remain strong enough to walk a mile without pain, or to lift your grandchildren, or to tend your garden, then that vision will shape your daily choices. You will move more. You will nourish your body better. You will treat it not as an old machine, but as a loyal companion you care for. I met a man named Howard in Arizona who had this kind of vision. At 75, he was not training for marathons or lifting heavy weights. His goal was simple: to be able to climb the hill behind his house every morning to watch the sunrise. That hill was 0.8 miles long, with a moderate slope, nothing extreme. But to do it, Howard had to keep his legs strong, his lungs clear, and his balance steady. So every day, he did his exercises, ate well, and rested when he needed to. The vision of that sunrise gave him something no pill could: motivation. The second vision is for your mind. A sharp mind is not an accident, it's the result of daily care. We now know, thanks to studies from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic, that learning new skills, solving puzzles, and even socializing regularly can slow cognitive decline. This vision might be as simple as reading one new book a month, learning a new recipe every week, or practicing a musical instrument you once loved but set aside. A dear friend of mine, Evelyn, decided at 68 to learn Italian. She had no plans to move to Italy or even travel there often. She simply wanted to keep her mind alive. Every morning, she spent 20 minutes practicing. Within 2 years, she could hold a conversation. She told me, "It's not about speaking Italian. It's about proving to myself that my mind is still growing." That is what a vision can do. It can wake up parts of you that you thought were asleep. The third vision is for your spirit. Whether or not you follow a religion, the human spirit needs something beyond the material. This vision might be about deepening your compassion, giving more time to help others, or connecting with nature. Science, again, confirms what wisdom has long known. People with a strong sense of purpose live longer, healthier lives. A study from the University of Michigan found that older adults with a clearly defined purpose had a 15% lower risk of early death over a 14-year period, even when controlling for physical health and lifestyle. Once, during a visit to Oregon, I met a retired nurse named Linda. She spent her mornings volunteering at a community garden, teaching young families how to grow vegetables. She told me, "I may not be saving lives in the emergency room anymore, but I am still helping people live better." That was her vision service, and it gave her days meaning. So, my friends, these three visions, body, mind, and spirit, are not luxuries. They are the foundation of a rich and meaningful later life. Without them, it's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for life to happen. With them, you wake up each morning knowing exactly why you are here. Now, the fourth principle may surprise you. It is this: trust yourself more than you depend on others. This is not about closing your heart or refusing help. It is about recognizing that, at the end of the day, your life belongs to you. Too often, we give away our inner power by waiting for someone else to tell us we're doing well, to guide us, or to save us. But as the saying goes, you cannot borrow someone else's legs to walk your path. Psychologists call this self-efficacy, the belief in your own ability to handle challenges. In 1977, Dr. Albert Bandura's research showed that people with high self-efficacy not only perform better under pressure, they also recover faster from setbacks. In older adults, this belief is especially important. Those who trust themselves are more likely to stay active, make healthy choices, and adapt when life changes unexpectedly. I remember meeting Frank, a widower from Colorado. After his wife passed, friends and family told him to move in with his daughter so she could take care of him. Frank was grateful, but he politely declined. He told me, "I love my daughter, but I need to prove to myself that I can still live my own life." He stayed in his small home, learned to cook for himself, handled his bills, and kept his garden. It wasn't always easy, but the pride in his eyes told me it was the right choice for him. Of course, there is a balance. Trusting yourself doesn't mean refusing help when it's truly needed. It means knowing that your voice matters in the decisions about your life. It means that when someone says, "You can't do that," you have the courage to ask, "Why not?" And here is the beautiful thing: the more you trust yourself, the more others will trust you. Confidence is quiet, but it's contagious. People are drawn to those who know who they are. In our next part, we will talk about the fifth principle, a powerful reminder that life is not about chasing after endless desires, but about recognizing the treasures you already hold. We will also weave together all 5 principles into a single, living philosophy you can carry with you every day. But before we move on, I want to ask you again, if these ideas have touched you today, subscribe to this channel now. Share this video with a friend, a neighbor, or a family member who might need it. And tell me in the comments, which of these visions will you begin shaping today? Or have you already begun? Your answer might inspire someone else to start their own journey. And now, my friends, we arrive at the fifth principle. It is perhaps the simplest to say but the hardest to live. Learn to be content. In a world that constantly tells us to want more possessions, more recognition, more excitement, contentment can feel like giving up. But in truth, it is the opposite. Contentment is not about having less. It is about wanting what you already have. Modern research backs this ancient truth. In 2005, psychologists Ed Diener and Robert Bisfostina studied people from different cultures and economic levels. They found that after basic needs are met, increased wealth brings only a small and temporary boost in happiness. What truly sustains well-being is gratitude, the daily habit of recognizing the good already present in your life. Contentment doesn't mean you stop growing or dreaming. It means your happiness is not postponed until some future goal is met. It is here, now. And the moment you truly understand this, life changes. You start to see the value in small, quiet moments, the taste of fresh bread, the laughter of a grandchild, the warmth of sunlight on your face. I once knew a woman named Margaret in Vermont. She lived in a modest home, drove an old pickup, and rarely traveled far from her town. But every day, she took a walk down a dirt road, noticing the changing colors of the trees, the scent of wildflowers, the call of the chickadees. She told me, "I used to think I needed to see the world to be happy. Now I see the world every morning." Her joy was not loud, but it was steady and deep. This principle is powerful because it protects you from one of the most common traps in later life: regret. Regret often comes from comparing your life to others or to the life you imagined you should have had. Contentment invites you to see the beauty of the life you actually have. It frees you to enjoy what is in your hands without constantly reaching for what is out of reach. When you bring together all 5 principles, choosing your responses wisely, caring for your health, shaping your visions, trusting yourself, and finding contentment, you create a foundation stronger than time. These are not just ideas for older age. They are a blueprint for living well at any stage. But in the years between 50 and 80, they are especially precious, because they remind you that your best days are not behind you, they are the ones you are about to create. I encourage you to see these principles not as separate lessons, but as a circle. Each one strengthens the others. Contentment makes it easier to trust yourself. Trust makes it easier to follow your visions. Visions keep you healthy. Health gives you the strength to choose your responses wisely. And wise responses deepen your contentment. This circle can carry you through the years with dignity, joy, and meaning. Before we close, I want to speak to you directly. If you are listening right now, it means you care about your life, about living it well, about making each day count. And if these ideas have stirred something in you, even a small spark, don't let it fade. Subscribe to this channel now. Stay with us, because in every video, we share more tools, more stories, more wisdom that can help you live not just longer, but better. Share this video with someone you love. Maybe it's a friend who's been feeling discouraged, a neighbor who could use a little light, or a family member who is searching for meaning. And in the comments, tell me, which of these 5 principles speaks to you most today? Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read. Life is too short to live without intention, and too precious to waste on what doesn't matter. Let's keep walking this path together, learning, growing, and finding joy in every step. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I truly mean that. Your presence here is a gift. I look forward to seeing you in our next video, where we will explore more ways to live with purpose and heart. Until then, may you wake each morning with gratitude, move through your day with strength and kindness, and rest each night with peace.